we welcome thee to the Colonial America concept wall. This unit involves building a Colonial America concept wall in a classroom. The completed wall contains words, illustrations, photos, symbols, models, timelines, and realia. The purpose of the wall is to create a student-created representation that students can refer to in order to better understand a time period from long ago. Students are grouped based on heterogeneous abilities. The purpose of this is to allow each student to bring something to the group. As outlined in the Bloom's leveled verbs and teacher could do descriptors, adapted by Rachel Carrillo, this allows all students to show their abilities, whether it be reading, creating, facilitating, etc.
Activities, days 1, 2, and 3. In preparation for their work, students create a portfolio in which to store all of their information. The students are given 6 file folders of different colors. They place the file folders inside of each other and label each folder with one of the 6 WH questions. This portfolio will house all of the research papers, photos, brainstorming ideas, and any other materials that are collected during the work sessions. The first step in creating the wall is for the teachers to ask the students what they want to know about Colonial America. The wall is categorized by 6 questions: who, what, where, when, why, how, which should be hung on the wall prior to the start of the unit. In order to familiarize the students and provide some background information, the class watches a video, Plymouth Plantation, on Discovery Education. This exercise will provide rudimentary information on the subject, visual representation of the times, as well as spark questions and ideas. After the video, in groups, students discuss and generate questions under each question category. Students will be given pictures and sentence starters from which to draw possible questions. Each group of students rotates through the WH stations, writing their insightful and relevant questions on the chart paper. Each group was given a particular color of marker in order to easily differentiate groups. 6 minutes are given at each station. The teacher then narrows down the list to 5 or 6 questions under each category on which students will focus their research. In total, students will be answering and representing approximately 30 questions throughout the unit.
Examples of questions. In our classroom, the students generated the following questions for their research. When did they settle in America? When did they first make the laws? When did they do and learn their jobs? When did the colonial people go to church?
What was here before colonists arrived? What did the kids learn and do in school? What chores did the children have? What did they do first upon arriving here? And what games did the children play?
Who were the colonial Americans? Who was the president at that time? Who had the idea to go to America? And who hired the workers?
How did they get their water? How did they travel? How did they make their houses? How did they get supplies for their children for school? The above questions were typed onto a sheet of paper, a sheet for each WH question, then placed into their research folders. A grading rubric is given to each student.
Framework for centers. A work schedule is placed on the board at the beginning of each work session in order to keep the students focused and time efficient. The schedule was 15 minutes of independent reading and note-taking and complete at least 1 answer on the sheet, 15 minutes to discuss and write all the answers to the questions using the participation improvement strategy, talk moves, 10 minutes to brainstorm how to best represent the answers for placement on the wall. Materials. Students are given a variety of research materials, which include internet links to sites about colonial America, the book If You Lived in Colonial Times, the book The Scoop on Colonial America, and teacher-prepared texts using excerpts from various sources modified for student readability.
Days 4, 5, and 6, who, what, and where. After the students researched each question, The classroom was set up in centers. There was a who center, a what center, and a where center. Approximately 7 students worked at each center, focusing on one question and following the schedule. Students read, took notes, and discussed the answers to their questions in order to come up with a uniform answer to their center's questions. The answers will be written on the WHH sheets in the students' research folders. After the students created uniform answers to their question, they worked together to discuss how they would want to represent the findings on the Colonial wall. They participated in discussions, made lists of materials they would need, divvied up the jobs, and began to create their visual representations using this chart. On days 5 and 6, the students visited the remaining 2 centers and followed the same procedures.
Days 7, 8, 9. When, why, how. On days 7, 8, and 9, the students move on to the remaining 3 centers. The students follow the same protocol as they did for visiting the first 3 centers. Day 10. Using the chart, the students will choose the best way to represent the answers on the wall. The students choose the visual representations they will create until all questions have been accurately represented. A work schedule is placed on the board at the beginning of this work session in order to keep the students focused and efficient. The schedule was 5 minutes to determine who is doing which question, 10 minutes to determine what materials you will need, and 25 minutes to create.
Day 11. An extra 20-minute work period should be given the following day to allow for students who brought materials from home. A work schedule is placed on the board at the beginning of the work session in order to keep the students focused and time efficient. The schedule was as follows: 20 minutes to complete all visual representations, 10 minutes to clean up, and 10 minutes to review presentations for the following day.
Day 12. The grading rubric should be reviewed and understood before presenting begins. On this day, each group is presenting their findings and visual representations. The teacher will choose 4 students to hold onto an index card with numbers corresponding with the questions on the flip chart. The students will ask each presenting group these questions. Each presenting group will come to the front of the class with their answers and visual representations. The student holding the index card with the number 1 will ask the first presenter the first question. The student holding the index card with the number 2 will ask the first presenter the second question, and so on and so forth until all the members in the group have presented. Each student's presentation will be recorded. This will allow for quick and easy review/reflection. Each student will receive 2 grades, one given to themselves and one given by a peer. When the second group is getting ready, the teacher must give a new set of students the numbered index cards. Continue in this fashion until all groups have presented and posted their information.
Day 13. On chart paper, write these questions. Each student will write their answers on Post-it notes and post them on the chart paper. The teacher will read out some of the answers to the class as a reflecting exercise.
Assessment was ongoing throughout the unit. Students were assessed on the following: their discussions with one another, their creations of symbols, their written answers to the research questions, their presentations of their findings. The accurate representation and placement of the symbols are evidence of a deeper understanding of a time period from long ago. This Colonial America wall puts an in-depth spin on a typical classroom word wall. It takes an overarching concept and allows students to learn deeply about this could-be boring topic. The students take a great deal of pride in building the concept wall because all of its components are student-controlled. As a result of this unit, students were visibly affected and their motivation and passion grew. This was evidenced by students extending their work into after-school hours, which we didn't ask them to do. The intrinsic motivation to make this concept wall was tangible. Students were energized, inquisitive, collaborative, respectful, motivated, interested, and efficient. The idea of establishing one common goal that all students could work toward was important. It shifted the climate of the classroom to a more collaborative one in which many skills and lessons were embedded. As a result of this unit, the students and teachers grew academically, socially, and emotionally. Their breadth of knowledge increased exponentially, and their social and emotional growth was evident in their interactions with each other.